following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Sounds like 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick and Michael Sindrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. A beautiful Monday in Nashville, Tennessee. We are going to get your week started right on the show. Got some exciting things for you. We'll analyze what went on in preseason game number 2 for the Titans momentarily. And then at 5 o'clock, we'll talk about where it is they're going to play in the future. Butch Spyridon, who has been out front in the movement to get the Titans a new stadium, will join us. So we got a lot to talk about. Let's call roll right off the bat. Let's begin up on the plateau and say hello to Coach Watson Brown. Watson, how are you?
George, I'm great now that the show started. Sitting here for the last 5 minutes and listen to you sing is not something that I would say is, wow. Could we mute that the next time?
Billy, was he supposed to hear that?
I didn't think you were supposed to hear that. That's you can blame that on me, Watson, but I guess you did.
Lord, Billy, please. It's one thing I get when I start listening to that, I get excited knowing it's going to stop here in just a few seconds and the show will start.
I'll say it is.
Gracious
I picked out 2
How do you
really
ruin
good
a good song like that?
I picked out 2 really good songs.
Oh, that was a great song. I just couldn't listen to it because I got to listen to you.
Right. It's like a dead cow mooing.
Woo!
Fine. Nice attitude.
I'm just telling the truth.
Well, I'm sure you are. Did you watch football this weekend?
I watched football this weekend. A little football, a little golf, yes.
We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
Billy, I know you're excited this week. Father Ryan grad, going to visit his alma mater Thursday and Friday. What are they offering you? A key to the Vatican?
Yeah, I'm going to be able to go to the Vatican now. They're giving me the key. But no, excited about that, George. This Friday. We'll be there Thursday as well.
Yes.
So it's a big Father Ryan week on the show.
They'll be so sick of you.
Surprised they're letting it happen.
You know, I am a little bit too. It's amazing. If you get the right money out there, what can happen? Speaking of money, let's say, well, don't you read something first before Terry comes on?
Yes, I do, George. Okay. I was going to say we cannot ever forget about Terry's 2 sponsors. First, the Justin Tucker team. They are proud to represent the George Plaster Show as the sponsor, one of the sponsors of this 4 o'clock hour. They are proven to be trusted with your most personal asset. The Justin Tucker team, call them at 615-906-8458. Also, Sumner Funeral and Cremation. They are sharing their family with yours in your time of need, now with 2 convenient locations in Gallatin and Hendersonville, and online at sumnerfuneral.com. Sumner Funeral and Cremation, traditional, affordable, and dignified.
Terry, speaking of dignified, Aaron Boone, really?
Hey, whatever it takes, got to win a game.
So big series coming up with the Mets starting tonight. Man, if you're a baseball fan, that is must-watch stuff at Yankee Stadium.
Yes. You know what one of the best parts of it is, George? You actually have to pull for us.
You know, there is some truth to that. It's like, do you take the Russians or the Iranians?
Yes. I want to hear you say, go Yankees.
Yeah, go Yankees. Okay, I like what's in the background. It's obvious you're in Titan land somewhere. Terry, how did they come out of game number 2 as far as injuries?
There were several guys that didn't practice today. Some of them were, I guess just getting maintenance days and whatnot. They actually got a couple of guys back that had been out missing some time. Chris Jackson and Theo Jackson, defensive backs. Elijah Molden was also back out there. He hadn't been practicing a lot. Defensive lineman Kevin Strong was one that didn't practice, and I think he left the game a little bit early. And so they came out of it relatively healthy.
Terry, let's talk a little bit about the quarterback play. Neither one of them were exactly Johnny Unitas. But in fairness to Malik Willis, I didn't think he had any time at all.
He really had some situations where the offensive line protections broke down. And, I know they want him to stand in the pocket and learn to, go through his progressions and, hit a second read, a third read, that sort of thing. But his instinct while he was at Liberty was, if it wasn't there, to take off and run, especially when the protection broke down. And several times with both he and Logan Woodside, the protection broke down, and the Titans had to do a little improvising at the quarterback position.
Terry, in recent years, the concept of the punt return has been a throwaway for the Titans. They've gotten virtually nothing out of it. And all of a sudden, this young guy, Kyle Phillips from UCLA, has come along and just dazzled everybody. Has he made this team?
No doubt about it, George. He not only made this team, he's probably one of their top 3 receivers right now, as well as the punt returner. This is a guy that you're going to see a lot of on Sundays from week 1, right out of the gate. His shiftiness allows him to get open in tight spaces and to, get separation so that the quarterback can deliver the football. And you saw Saturday night what he's capable of as a punt returner.
So you brought it up, wide receivers. 1, 2, 3. Let's list them.
1, 2, 3 right now are Robert Woods, Nick Westbrook-Akina, Kyle Phillips, and I'd say Traylon Burks is right there at number 4. Simply for the fact that, they're breaking him in, he's catching up. But right now, I think they would probably defer to the veterans Woods and Westbrook-Akina as their main guys, with Traylon Burks coming in and eventually grabbing a starting role and extra playing time. But I think right now they probably would go with the 2 veterans.
Terry, they didn't draft him to sit him in the bullpen. Are they privately concerned?
No, I don't think they're real concerned about it. I think, he did have the conditioning issues that cropped up during the OTA work and all that. I think most of that is past him now. I think, he's making plays in practice. He's been available. He left one practice early and then returned the next day and did some limited work. And then he was out there a full go today. I think they're perfectly fine with, where he's at and what he's going to be able to do. You remember A.J. Brown didn't start right out of the gate his rookie year either. It took 3 or 4 games before they fully gave it over to him. And I feel like that, they know what Robert Woods can do or has done in the past. And I feel like that they trust Nick Westbrook-Akina. Ryan Tannehill trusts him because they've worked together now for about 3 years. So I think Traylon Burks is in a situation where he's just going to have to kind of, wait his turn and earn extra reps by his play on the field. But I think that's coming in due time.
Where exactly are you?
I'm in a conference room over here. I'm the only one in.
Very nice. Very nice. It's an improvement over the office.
Well, thank you.
Terry, good luck tonight. I wish your team the very best.
I know you do, George. And you might actually mean that for once.
Well, for a change, I might. Go beat Max Scherzer.
Let's hope so.
Talk to you.
See you.
Terry McCormick with his daily Titans update. Watson, are you ready for the award-winning update?
Let's go.
We have got some good stuff in the update. Billy, item number 1 is?
Item number 1, George, we go to Carolina. Baker Mayfield has been named the starting quarterback of the Panthers, and he'll be facing the Cleveland Browns in week 1. So fun little matchup.
That is a fun little matchup. Watson, I mean, this is not exactly this just in. You knew this was going to happen.
I did. I didn't think it was ever a contest when they brought him in, but I think they needed to make it that, and That's what they did. And we'll see how Baker plays against his former team in the first game. Isn't that amazing how that seems to happen
Yep.
as much as it does. I mean, what's the first game that Watson's back with Cleveland against the Texans? I go, geez, man, sometimes you just wonder if the stars just aren't aligned.
The NFL schedule gods. So is the game in Cleveland?
I was just about to ask that, George. I can look that up.
I think it's in Charlotte.
Because if it were in Cleveland, I wonder what kind of an ovation Baker would get.
Yeah, it looks like it is in Charlotte up there.
Yeah.
You got to believe he'd get a good ovation.
Yeah, it'd be better than what Marcel Ozuna got yesterday.
This is Ozuna from the Braves.
Yeah. What's item number 2?
Item number 2, George, really interesting story came out last night during ESPN's UFC 278 fight. That was a special, the Gronk's special on Saturday night. Rob Gronkowski pushed Dana White to tell the story of the time he gave Tom Brady a recruiting pitch to join the Oakland Raiders and asked him to explain what went wrong. And apparently John Gruden turned it down. He said, nope. You believe that? You buying that?
Let me ask a question. Why do the Raiders need Dana White to do a recruiting pitch to Brady? What am I missing there?
Just to bring him back to the West Coast. That's what I think. He was hot to everybody there for a while, and one of the rumors was he wanted to go back to the West Coast.
Yeah.
And it was the 49ers and the Raiders, and I think the Raiders probably were trying to get in front of the 49ers at the point. So I can see that.
Through Dana White.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily L.A., it's Oakland that he was trying to get Brady to. So maybe you need a little bit of extra.
If you see that. If you see the condition of that stadium,
right?
Yeah.
Brady's not from L.A. He was from up in the San Francisco area, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Speaking of Tom Brady, he has returned to Tampa Bay to the Buccaneers facility. And according to a recent report from Pro Football Network, he was spending time with his family in the Bahamas.
Okay, Watson, let's talk about this. If I'm a teammate of his and I find out that story is true, I'm pissed.
I think the team knew it prior to him going. There's nothing they could do about it. This is not a good look, George.
No, it's horrible.
Is not. I don't care how long you've been playing in the league. If you're part of a team, you're part of a team. And honestly, I thought the Bucs looked awful all week. Yeah. I think the day he walked out the door, they all took a break. And I'm not sure that they're just kind of riding it out now. Maybe when he's back, they'll get going again. But the Bucs had no fire, no nothing in that game the other night. They had nothing. It wasn't there. And I put that on Brady because you just take 11 days off for vacation in the hardest work time of the year for you as you're developing your team. I've never heard of that before. No,
and to be honest, now that it's gotten out, I'm surprised at how little criticism has been leveled so far. But I've got to believe in that locker room, somebody like Leonard Fournette is going to get in his face and basically say,
wake up.
Yeah, you're a dog.
Well, when it might happen is if they start out poorly.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe right now, no, he's back. Okay, let's get going. All their receivers, not a one of them practiced all last week. Not one of them. Not one of their 4 starting receivers saw a practice field. It just, the whole thing's like a setup.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how the head coach lets that happen. Maybe it was over the head coach's head.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something Brady negotiated to come back with the boss, with the owners. Now, I'm going to come back, but you got to give me these 10, 11 days because we already had this plan. Maybe that was it. I don't know, but I never thought he wasn't coming back, and I never thought there was much to it. I thought he was out having a good time somewhere. It's exactly what I thought.
What else?
George, we move on.
We do.
Some NBA news. The Memphis Grizzlies are reportedly interested in Kevin Durant, and they have emerged as a possible landing spot for the, of course, all-star Kevin Durant. So we'll have to see.
Well, couple of thoughts on that. Number one, your first reaction is it ain't happening. But upon further review, Watson, the Grizzlies have got a lot of young talent. They have hit an amazing majority of their draft picks in the last 3 years that have turned out to be, really solid contributors, they might have a really interesting package of players that they could hook up with Brooklyn. I don't rule this one out.
I don't rule it out at all, and I think it makes Memphis an instant contender. Instant. I think it's a good move by Memphis if they can pull this off.
Yeah. And listen to this one.
Last but certainly not the youngest, Sister Jean turns 103 today. 103.
God bless her. How many, I don't know if we know the number. Well, we don't know the number. How many people in our country are 103 years or older?
Not many.
It couldn't be many.
It ain't going to be me.
103.
I'll not make it to 103, George. Don't bet the house on that one, bud.
Will you be on the show if that happens?
No.
Fine. Wonderful. You have exhibited a pitiful attitude today.
Oh, I'm in good shape today, even after listening to the music. I still survived it.
You ripped my singing, which was on key.
Well, it pumped me up for the show. I said, things have got to get better here.
I agree. Anything else you need to do over there?
No, I'm good, George.
Excellent. Beautiful. Watson, when we come back, you go front and center stage. It's White Watson. That's your name, isn't it? Watson?
Starts with a W, George. It's not W-H, it's W-A. Not what, it's what.
Titans Analysis. You try saying that. This is Main Street Media Television. Thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
This is Eric Berner with Rock Castle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, and personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. If you've lost a spouse or a parent and want to make sure your inheritance is utilized and does not just disappear, I can help with that. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
I like the way it went. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah.
Watson loved that.
I know he did. Watson, how you doing?
Good, George.
Okay, you ready to get into Saturday?
I'm ready to go.
Let me just say up front that I suggested on Friday that Tampa would play with absolutely no interest and thus took the Titans minus the 3. Watson, what this does, it just continues to pile on to a standard of excellence that I have set in recent days, and you'll know about it at 5:55.
I think I already got it figured out.
Yeah, I'm sure you
Like
do.
I say, Billy, when the boy's a front runner, he is top of the line.
Top of the line.
That's all I can tell you. He's top of the line. Now, it's somebody else's fault always when he loses, but when he's a front runner, boom, boom, boom. Pat that chest, bud. Hold up,
Watson,
number one.
Watson, do you think we'll ever see? Oh, that's my fault. That's my fault. That's my bad on that bet. Yeah, I can blame myself.
It is not often. Not often.
Not ever.
Not ever.
Not
Okay,
often.
fine. Let's
Not
get to the
ever.
important issues. People are waiting to hear about Watson's Titans analysis. I got it right this time. So let's just go through his list. Let's start with number 1. Passing game concerns at wide receiver. Watson, if Kyle Phillips, who has shown some great stuff, is already at number 3, they got a problem.
If Traylon Burks ain't in the top 3, they got a problem. I mean, that's what he was brought in to be. This team don't need an A.J. Brown when he's a freshman waiting until midseason to play. They need a guy to match A.J. Brown for what he'd be if he was on the team now. So I'm a little concerned. Burks caught one ball. Maybe they don't try to get him the ball in these games. I didn't see the tight end do anything. They all played in the game. A little bit anyway, not a ton, but the Burks ran a takeoff route. He and McMath both ran takeoff routes. They didn't get any separation. One of them was picked off, one of them wasn't. They ran straight to the boundary. They didn't give the quarterback but about 2 to maybe 3 yards to throw it in a window. You're supposed to try to give them about 6 yards to where they can lay it over that outside shoulder. I'm not seeing anybody yet step up. Maybe they're not supposed to. Maybe that's the way it's set up and what they're doing until it comes game time. But you're just asking me from the other night what I saw. I didn't see anybody at receiver just step up and look fantastic.
Okay, are you at a point, if you're John Robinson, where you're having to say to yourself, I'm probably going to add somebody off somebody else's roster?
I don't know. That's what I say when you don't get the ball to these guys to see what they can do. I thought that'd be one thing they'd want to do is throw it to everybody, the tight end. Phillips had probably more balls, targets to him than anybody, and he played a little more. But I just don't know. I don't see the guys. I'm not saying I don't think the talent's there. I'm just not seeing them make plays. And I would have thought the Titans would have wanted to show these guys they can make plays and gain them some confidence. Maybe it'll be this week in the game they got this week. I don't know, but that was a disappointing thing to me. The game's over. Traylon Burks was out there in the fourth quarter, and they still couldn't get him the ball to see what he could do with it and throw him some quick screens, so we can everybody can see the ability that I hear in practice, but I've not seen it yet when the uniform goes on. Doesn't mean it's not there, George. I'm not throwing up an alarm. I'm talking about the game the other night.
Yeah. And it does not help that Tampa played with as little interest as you will ever see a team play with. And I happen to agree with what you're saying, that Brady's little trip to the Bahamas has pissed off that locker room, and they basically said, screw it.
I don't think they try to lick all week long. I don't think they were competitive in the practices like you would think a true Super Bowl contender could have very easily won 2 in a row. The Rams beat them, and the Bucs kind of blew it in the playoff game. I think they would have won back-to-back Super Bowls. They didn't look like it. And then in the game, they played a lot more down the liners than we played in the game. But they say they got a lot of people hurt. I don't know. But that's all I'm saying about the wide receiver play. I just didn't see anybody stick out. And I don't know if you saw it any different. I know you all were at the game. But that's just my observation was game's over, and nobody really stuck out as a receiver in this game for the Titans.
Okay, let's go to item number 2, and that is the whole deal with Malik Willis. I saw what you saw. I give him a little bit of a pass, Watson, because he was under siege from really the first play and as long as he was in there.
He was, and that's another thing we're going to talk about. But he was, but there were also times he wasn't, like right here. He's got plenty of time. There's no reason for him to take off running right there. I'm not saying that ain't a great run. I know he can do this. It's just fundamentals that I see that I still think are very poor. Release of the ball is real flat. His hands underneath it, and his feet aren't set proper a lot of times. His eyes are still not focused, George, to me, on targets. He takes too long to get from one target to the other. I don't know. I'm a little concerned about that, and because I think he's going to be the backup. I think that Woodside has, by what they did with him, he's totally lost his confidence. But by kind of making him the third teamer, I think his confidence level has fallen off. He don't look near as confident to me now as he did a year ago. And I think that's because of the reps he's getting and who he's going with and some of those type things. So I am concerned with Malik Willis's passing fundamentals. They've got to improve, because if we're game 5 and all of a sudden we lose our quarterback for 2 games, I'm not sure if he'd be capable right now of winning those games for us.
Okay, let me ask this. One of the things that I noticed was that pretty much everything was fastball with Malik Willis, even when it didn't need to be fastball. I don't know if that was nerves, playing in front of the home crowd for the first time. Did you see that?
I think the game is not in slow motion to him yet. As a quarterback, when the game gets in slow motion, you're ready to play. I don't see that yet. Everything looks like it's flying by him, and he's jumpy. He's looking here and there. I don't see that confident that the game is going in slow motion. I go here to here yet. When he would check off, he was a little bit inconsistent in getting the checks done. They had an awful lot of illegal procedures, which I would think starts with your quarterback a lot of the time, not getting any consistency in snap counts and knowing when to check off, when not, doing it in the proper kind of way. I'm talking quarterback stuff here, but I don't think he's ready. I do think he is loaded with talent and can be a very good NFL player. But he has got to get better at fundamental stuff. And I didn't see a big jump from game 1 to game 2 personally. I saw where Mike thought they bragged on him, and I think I would have too. They got to try to build his confidence level.
Sure.
But I just didn't see the jump from game 1 to game 2 that I would have liked to have seen. I mean, he's passing for under 40% in the game. That's against backups with the Bucs. That's just not going to get it.
The third piece of this is obvious. Offensive line at the beginning of the game in particular, Watson, was downright awful. How concerned should they be right now there?
My biggest concern is that Ray Dance just played poorly. Gosh, he threw some wolves as drop back pass protections. I mean, didn't touch guys a couple of times. I'm not sure he can play tackle. Maybe he comes on. Maybe I don't get to see the practices, so all I can do is judge the one game. But man, we got a long way to go on the offensive line, George. Our center didn't play. Our left tackle didn't play. The kid from Ohio State that played left tackle played pretty good. He doesn't look dominant as a run blocker, though. He doesn't look heavy. He's long, thin. He did pass protect much better than the right tackle did. I've been saying this every week since we started, George. My biggest flag, or still right now, red flag, is the offensive line. I just hadn't seen it gel yet like I think it's got to in this style of offense that we run.
Watson, with that in mind, do you have to play the first team longer in game 3 because of having gotten nothing done in game 2?
I would think they'll probably try to put them out there together. I think we might see our left tackle for the first, Lawan, for the first time. Our center should be back. I don't think his injury was bad. I'd want to see those guys play. Now I'm seeing linemen. I mean, the Bucs lost the starting lineman for the season in the game. So, I mean, it's a tough call, man. And when you've got a long season coming and all the games they got to play, I understand these coaches holding these guys out. I do, George. I defend that in a lot of ways. But this offensive line has just got to come on, because if it doesn't, I think that's the only thing I see right now, pure C, that I say could keep us from having a good season and be about a 500 team or something, if that were to not come through. Everything else, I see it. I just want to see it then happen. I don't see it yet in the offensive line. I just don't.
At the end of last season, the Titans' front four on their defensive line was incredible. Sacked Tom Brady. What am I saying? Joe Burrow in the playoff game 9 times. And to Burrow's credit, that young guy held his composure when virtually nobody else in the league would have. Okay, with that in mind, let's go to the fourth, because it's a big positive. And it is what they've got to hang their hat on defensively, Watson.
They're deep. They're so deep that they're going to have to cut some good players. And it's going to be interesting, because I see players playing in third and fourth quarters that are going to be good players for other teams. There's no way we can keep all these guys, George. You just only have so many spots for defensive linemen, and they're not the kind that are good. They can't play special teams and all of that kind of stuff. So we're going to have to let some of these guys go. Once they go over the wire, they could go to the Texans. They could go to the Jags. I mean, we could be playing against these guys. But I see some really good down-the-line linemen. This is where we're by far. I don't even think it's close. This is the deepest spot on the football team, and it's not even close.
Okay, let me ask this question then. If you're John Robinson, it's a numbers game. You know you're going to have to give up, as you said, some people that can really play in this league. Do you go ahead right now and perhaps pursue some teams that don't have this luxury that may be able to help the Titans at wide receiver?
That's very possible, George. They could be doing that. I would think all teams with 3 weeks left now before the first game, a little less than 3. They're all thinking that because it goes from 80 to 53 next. So they're going to be a bunch of cut people after this next week. So I would think you're exactly on the right track there. Can we get something we need a little more for 1 or 2 of these defensive linemen?
Because there are teams out there. These teams aren't stupid. They know what you know, which is the Titans have got more defensive line depth than just about anybody.
I think all these teams have staffs, members that watch all these games and judge players. Watch them all because they're hunting who could be let go here that we might pick up, or maybe we want to trade for this kid. That goes on all the time on every team. So I'll promise you the Titans are being watched closely in these 2 preseason games we've had, because we've been dominant up front. And you haven't seen Landry. You have seen Dupree. You haven't seen Autry. And you haven't seen Simmons. I mean, these are kids that are down the line guys that are playing really good football.
It is a nice problem to have. Great analysis by Watson Brown, talking Titans football. When we come back, we'll hear from Titans head coach Mike Vrabel. Game 2 is in the books. Arizona is next. This is Main Street Media Television.
Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly, they welcome every opportunity to serve and satisfy their clients. Whether you are looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and remodel is unique, luxurious, completed on time, and within budget. Contact them today to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects by logging on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit WellSkinMD.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin. It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Duret Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DuretRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DuretRadonMitigation.com.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Stewart. I'm the owner and broker of One Stop Realty here in Hendersonville. I am a resident of Hendersonville, Sumner County native through and through. I also give back through the Sumner Realtors Board of Directors. I'm the chairman of the Outreach Committee, which we also do the Easter egg hunts. That's for the low-income daycares here in Sumner County. We do the Haunted Hustle 5K, which benefits Habitat for Humanity, Sumner County. Just recently, last year, we started the Poker Chip Challenge, that benefits the Humane Society, the Jason Foundation, and also the Sumner County Fire Bucs. Needless to say, I, along with the team here at One Stop Realty, is all about giving back to the community in any way we can.
Since 1865, the First Baptist Church of Gallatin on Winchester Street has served its community by catering to the least, the last, and the lost, providing a church of welcome used by God to save the lost, transform the saved, and impact its community. As a proud multi-ethnic congregation, Pastor Derek Jackson personally welcomes you to join them in fellowship Sunday mornings at 8 in person or at 10:45 in person or online at firstbaptistgallatin.org. First Baptist Gallatin on Winchester Street, serving with open arms as a true church of welcome.
Well, don't forget, today at 5 o'clock, Butch Spyridon will join us. He runs the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and he has been front and center stage in talking about the Titans' attempt to get a dome stadium, and he'll give us the very latest info on what is going on today at 5 o'clock. So make sure you stick around for that. Okay, we got great analysis from Watson Brown on what went on Saturday night over at Nissan Stadium. You heard that just a few minutes ago. It is one of the real strengths we have is Watson's ability to get to the X's and O's. Mike Vrabel follows him. Let's see if the two are saying the same things.
The snaps he got last night, are you seeing him get targeted in games the way you'd like to?
Well, the thing that I've always tried to say with regards to receivers is they can't control when they get the ball. Okay. All they can control is that they get open and that we can review the film and say, hey, this is where we, would like the ball to go. I don't want to tell quarterbacks, hey, throw it to this guy. That's not the direction that we really want to head. But was really encouraged by some of the things that he did, especially without the football, trying to block. There were times that he was open, whether that be for a catch and run. And then there's some other times where, we would like to see a better route, just continue to progress and work on the conditioning in the game and all the things that are required of the receivers.
But overall, from a game plan perspective, can you kind of figure out ways like to get manufactured touches for?
Well, we can do that with everybody, just not in a second preseason game.
Overall, though, improved consistency from when we last talked about it in Baltimore from like the week of practice into the game?
Yeah, I think that there was, certainly improvements on things that we had talked about. And then there are going to be, adjustments or coaching points that we'll make with them and him and everybody else when they come in tomorrow.
So good about staying on the field. How can Rashad find some snaps once you guys are going for real?
Just continuing to help us and trying to find a role, working in some special team situations so that, we can find guys to get to the game, but the ball production that he had and being able to match the hand and, keep showing up is really what's been good to see.
For you guys last night, Mike, were you seeing some of the things you saw in drills?
Yeah, I think so. We work it a lot. And I think the first game against Baltimore, it was sometimes make the tackle or just try to focus on maybe covering the guy or whatever. And I think it was good to see that we didn't really do our best in that game of having attempts. But I think, talking with Shane and the defensive staff, I think there were 34 attempts at that, whether they're, hammering at the ball or whatever they're doing. And some of that is showing up on the film. And so then the more attempts you get, in theory, the more times that the ball comes out.
Stonehouse at getting the ball to check up on the two short ones. One of them bounced backwards. The other one trickled in. How much of a skill is that to get it to stop and sit up? And where is he on that?
Well, I think it is a skill. We had 3 total touchbacks yesterday on the punt. That's not good enough. We had the penalty, first touching. So, I think Stoney's, it's something that, he'll continue to always work on it. I think it is a skill. I mean, to go down there and make it hit and check, you see throughout the league, some of those footballs that land on the 5-yard line and, take a violent bounce into the end zone, or the other ones that sit there and die soft.
How did the newcomers at safety, Colbert and Lonnie Johnson, they got a lot of snaps last night. How did they look? And do you almost have to grade those guys on a curve because they get here halfway through camp?
Well, it was good to see him get out there. There was some, I thought that group did a nice job of making some plays on the football, tackling, playing the football, lowering the target. Had some opportunities where you could be close to the defenseless receiver area, and in the head or neck. And, by playing the football, I think that helps them with that penalty as far as, we try to teach them to find the ball and, try to strike below the football, and that should protect you as well. As far as grading on a curve, I think, we just kind of see where they're at and look at how they're playing and the fundamentals that they're playing with, and maybe that, trying to keep the call, somewhat manageable for him.
Is Lonnie with the safeties when the DBs break up now?
I think in the game he particularly played at, safety. I think we'll see how much he can handle and what he, where he can help us the best.
Look at Malik a little closer. What you see, and where did you see improvement there? What are some areas maybe he still needs to focus?
Yeah. So the thing that, obviously that stood out was, we were able to rip a timing route in there to Nick early in the game, which is something that he didn't do last week, and we worked on it in practice, and it was cool to see him be able to hit that, and maybe he can kind of see how the whole process works, the play pass, the timing of it, and 21-yard gain. Other things that we still have to, and we still want to be able to work on the operation, at the line of scrimmage, the command. I just think it's tough to run, talk to him about running out of the back of the pocket. And there's times where he's going to take off and make plays and protection breaks down and he's going to shrug guys off. And he did that and found Dez, found Hassan. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, especially our quarterbacks. And just, you run out of the back of the pocket in this league, these guys are coming. So we'll continue to coach him and his pocket presence and being able to keep his eyes downfield. And, it's such a fine line, but I just look at the beginning part of the game and the one, timing pass that we needed to complete and wanted to see him do, he did it. So, we at least made some progress there, and then we'll continue to work, on some of the other stuff.
After watching the film last night, do you start to get more clarity on that? And what do those guys have to do to kind of separate themselves towards that starting spot?
Well, anybody that's trying to, earn a role in their offensive lineman, it would be to block your guy, to stay inside out in protection, to handle movement, finish. Those are all critical things for an offensive lineman. Nick got a couple series, at right tackle and then went over to left. So, not ready to, make anything, permanent right now, but we'll see where we're at this week against Arizona.
How did you feel about Dylan against Nassib, and obviously got the false start, but how did you feel about him both pass blocking and run blocking yesterday?
Who's that?
Dylan.
I thought he settled down. There was some, some good blocks. I thought there was a couple that he missed.
How's he doing in terms of said he feels better about what he's been doing in pass protection? How much of an advancement has he made in pass pro?
Well, it's really a lot of the top of the pocket, making sure that, you stay inside out, or these guys have a decision to make at the top of the pocket, or they come back under, or, do they keep running the edge? And, I think that's something that we focused about with Dylan, is just making sure that, he doesn't, lose at that point in time, or, I think he's done a better job. I think it's been better, and guys is trying to spin back inside on him, and I think he's done a good job.
I was going to say, are you seeing progress?
Okay, let's bring Watson back in here. Watson, Mike Vrabel brought up a really interesting point about, look, you don't set up these pass patterns to say, okay, you've got to go to, in this case, Burks. But is there a point in preseason where you feel like you do have to do that to start to establish him?
Well, first, I think he says that to keep the heat off all the different guys, quarterback, receivers. He doesn't believe that, because there's a lot of times, especially on early downs, where it's called throw it to this guy. First play to Westbrook-Akina, that was called throw it to that guy. That's what that was. And he bragged on him for throwing it to that guy. So, no, that's not true. You do have pass patterns, especially play action passes, RPOs, that this is the guy and we're going to throw it to, or then we'll check it down if it's not there. But I read in his language the same thing that I'm saying. We didn't have anybody make any plays the other night, really, but that's okay. We just got to keep getting open. Mike is real good about not putting anything on any one guy. He just is really good at that. I think he gets it honest from his old boss. And he saves his players, in my opinion. That's one of the things Belichick, I thought, has always done. He never pointed fingers at players publicly. And whereas Coach Saban will do that some. But Belichick doesn't, and I think Mike is real good about that, George. But I sensed a little bit of the same thing. Some of these guys, we're going to have to start making plays between our quarterback, our offensive line, and our receivers. We got to start making plays as this season gets here.
Okay, give me 30 seconds on this. What's your plan for this rookie in game 3? Don't you have to play him virtually the entire night?
He played most of the game the other night. Just didn't catch any balls. Caught one, I think. But yes, he's got to get experience. He's got to play. So is Phillips. Those two guys have got to play. Our tight end, Hooper, our Westbrook-Akina, no, they've been around. And we haven't seen Woods, and we're not going to see him, in my opinion, until the season starts.
Yep. Okay, after the break, stat of the day, where we have excelled, if I do say so, in recent days. Our performance has gone up. And then after we ace this one, unless it's a stupid question, notice how I did that? Then Butch Spyridon will join us, and we'll talk the very latest info about the Titans' attempt to get a dome stadium in the future. Stick around. This is Main Street Media Television. Tell me a little bit about your company.
So One Stop Realty has been around since 1974. We are your hometown brokerage. It is family owned by me. We have 30 agents that are waiting to help you with all your real estate needs. That counts as residential, commercial, and property management. We also will be getting into the auction business at the end of this month as well. We have listings that range from every price range that you can think of on the real estate market. I know Shelly Tucker has a new listing coming up in Gallatin. Heather Patton has one in Madison right around the corner here. I have one coming up myself. We have everything you need as far as real estate, and we have the expertise to help you out.
Beautiful. Give them a phone number.
Phone numbers for the office is 615-822-0750. You can find us on the web at www.onestoprealty.tn.com.
Thanks for getting involved with us.
George,
really
thank you for
appreciate
having
this. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
I think so.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Varder Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee.
We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports cards, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards.
We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
Welcome back into the George Plaster Show. Billy Derrick here. We've got Stat of the Day coming up. Powered by John English Antique Sports and Cards and Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. At John English, they specialize in antique and historical sports equipment, games, advertising, and other sport-related items. You can visit them online at in Shelbyville, not online. You can visit them in Shelbyville. You can visit them online, johnenglishgradedcards.com.
So you can do both.
Yes, you can do both. Noon to 5 o'clock, Tuesdays through Fridays, and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. as well. And Rockcastle Wealth Advisors, of course, Eric Berner over there doing a tremendous job. You can call Eric Berner at 615-490-7052 or visit them online at rockcastlewealth.com for more information.
Really appreciate both of them getting involved with the show. The first 2 weeks, we were found a little wanting. We were in a little bit of a slump, but Watson, I feel like we have brought our A game in the last couple of weeks, and we have shown who Daddy is.
Ain't no doubt. We have been a whole lot better. And finally, when we trained our stat man to get us some good things, it helped a little bit. Yeah.
Well, this might be bad news for y'all. I have not looked at Stat of the Day yet today.
Lord. So this is even a surprise to you.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, we got baseball. That's a relief. Which MLB player has the record for the most career walk-off home runs?
Well, now,
interesting.
Hold on a second, because isn't walk-off a new term?
It's got to be fairly new.
That was not a term that you used in the 60s and the 70s.
So you can rule
this is part of a big four-corner stall. Who the hell knows?
How would we know this one?
Oh, I mean, look, we're going to take a couple of guesses, and then we're going to, head for cover. Hope that Butch.
Oh, this is
joins
very.
us.
I saw just saw the answer. This is very random.
Oh,
he played for. I'm going to give you a team. He played for Minnesota.
Okay.
Oh,
so
the big strong left-hander, George.
Oh, actually, no, not Minnesota. He played for Cleveland. Watson's right. He is a big, strong left-hander.
Maybe
he played for Cleveland, and it looks like he also played in Seattle, potentially, but he definitely played in Cleveland.
How in the world, George?
I mean, look,
Mickey Mantle, Stan Musial.
No, I mean, look, what he's giving us
more recent.
is a Carlos Santana, is what it sounds like. I wouldn't know one way. Nobody in their right mind could get this.
I know who he's talking about. I know. I thought
it's
he played
not
for Minnesota.
I don't think it's Jim Tomei.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Oh my gosh.
That's who it is. That's the big strong left-hander.
Big strong left-hander. So the picture on the left, that's Minnesota, right? And then he did play for Cleveland?
No, he starred in Cleveland.
But that's
the rest of this was all toward the end of his career.
Right.
Jim Tomei hit, I believe, is he not way up in home run totals as far as all time?
Yeah.
Like either in the upper 500s or the low 600s.
We never would have got that if he hadn't thrown a hand or two out there.
No. I'll be honest. I was thinking of, for instance, Manny Mota years ago had more pinch hits than anybody.
Hey, how in the world? They got to be close. Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth, Stan Musial, Frank Robinson, all of those kind of guys. Al Kaline. Those were all great hitters back in the day. I wonder how close some of those were.
I don't think we've got it in front of us.
I would have never guessed this without that help. Never would have gotten that.
Most career walk-off home runs.
So you're looking this up as the show goes on. This is impressive.
Yeah.
Good Lord, it'd take me an hour to do this.
What is it, Billy? Who's on that list? Who's underneath this one?
So Jim Thome is number 1. Number 2, Jimmy Fox, Mickey Mantle, Stan Musial, Albert Pujols, Frank Robinson, and Babe Ruth.
That's not a bad crew.
That's pretty good crew.
That's pretty good company right there.
You've also got David Ortiz, Tony Perez, and Ryan Zimmerman back there. There's more recent guys than I thought.
How about Albert Pujols, guys? My gracious.
Oh, my goodness. This was
At
the
his
topic.
age?
Yeah, this was the topic of conversation this morning. The Cardinals, I know he says that he's going to retire, but let's say he continues on this and ends the season at 698. Man, they got to invite him back. He's got to accept it. Albert Pujols ought to be at 700.
Watson, George and I were talking about it walking back after the Titans game, and I think George brought it up. He said, at what point do some of these pitchers just kind of groove him a little bit slower of a fastball just because of the love for him? And I'm not saying throw him eephus pitches, you're lobbing it up to him, but just kind of giving him that extra step, extra push in the back to get to 700.
Hold on.
Sometimes they catch grief for that, though, Billy. I remember when Brett Favre did that for Michael Strahan, if you remember. When Brett Favre just took a sack to give Michael the record.
Oh, yeah.
And he caught a lot of grief for that when he did that. So
I gotta stop here.
George has an update here.
Well, Butch is telling us that he's staring at himself on TV, but we don't see him up here.
That's weird. He's not in here.
I'm going to flip this phone.
You're going to throw the phone over?
Yeah, and then I'm going to talk about Monday night. That was a good throw, by the way.
This is live
TV. Okay, a couple of things before we get Butch on here. I have oftentimes over the years been very, very critical of the Titans and game management. And in particular, a year ago in the opening preseason game, which was an absolute disaster against the Bears. If you got concessions that day, hey, good for you. It was virtually impossible. I saw a huge improvement in what was going on in that area on Saturday night. Burt Nihill and his staff have obviously worked very hard to clean up that issue. Concessions throughout the game, way easier than they have been. Number two, I noticed this, and I think Tampa had a lot to do with it. Crowd wasn't very into it. It was kind of a ho-hum deal all around. Don't know why. I do know why on the Tampa Bay end. I think they're not a happy group right now with their star quarterback in the Bahamas on vacation. But the crowd really did not get into it. One of the things that I have really been on this organization about, never understood it. Under Don McLaughlin, I gave him a lot of the blame. And frankly, I think it was deserved, was the not opening enough gates and creating these long lines for no reason. The Titans have stopped all that foolishness. Unless you all saw something I didn't, it looked like all the gates were open. People were able to get in easily, and that was good. So,
George, while we wait on Butch,
I think we've got Butch.
Tickets. How do you?
Hold on. I think we've got him, Watson.
Okay. I'll come back to this question.
Sorry for the delay. Hope you're doing well.
My bad.
Was it really? By the way, Your office looks good in the background.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Butch, tell us, it's been quiet in recent weeks. Is that me not paying enough attention as far as the stadium issues, or has it been quiet?
No, it's been quiet, intentional. I think two or three things going on. Number one, the Titans in the city are just trying to get the details of the financing plan, buttoned up so that they can, present it as something to talk about. I know a lot of people get mad that, well, we don't know. Well, there's nothing to know yet. And then there will be plenty of time to discuss it when the two parties have come to terms.
Butch, you gave me some news yesterday, and maybe it's out there and maybe it's not, but our good friend Russ Simons, who was involved in the 90s in so much of what went on in the growth of sports in our city, he's kind of back involved again. Let's talk about that.
Sure. I'll try to get the name of their company right, but let me hold off on that. But Russ and some of the guys that were with Powers Management, then part of HOK, they're off on their own. Actually, Venue Solutions, and they have become really the premier venue consultants in the country. They oversaw SoFi Stadium, Super Bowl, or NFL hires them to go in and look at how the Super Bowl functions at various stadiums. They consult on college campuses. They know the inside and out of venues. And if you remember Russ, he oversaw Bridgestone Arena completion. So they've been brought on board on behalf of the city to look at renovation versus new, what condition the stadium's in, what is the look and feel of first-class NFL stadium around the country. So I think they're as good as anybody gets, and their study should take the next 2 to 3 months, and then we'll have some additional answers.
Watson, feel free at any point in the middle of all this where we get into it to kind of get in the middle of it. Butch, let me ask one more thing real quickly. A lot of people will be surprised, had felt like it was now just basically a done deal that this was going to be a tear down and we were going to go to a dome. What has caused sort of the let's get Russ to look at it?
The council had some questions, fair on their part, to go, how do we know? Because the Titans had done the study. But the Titans brought in actually two of the biggest construction companies in the country. They did their evaluations separate. Then they compared their notes. So I feel like that homework was done, but the city wanted their own eyes and ears, and it's a big project. I get that. And as long as it doesn't cost us too much time, let's get everybody's questions answered. It's fair. This is a big deal.
It is a big deal. Watson, let's sort of, you and I just go 2-3 questions at a time and see where we take it.
Butch, how important is the city in this? What percentage of dollars are they going to have to throw in, the city, the county, whatever? How important are they?
I think a couple answers to that. Obviously, the city is ultimately the landlord, and without the city's involvement, it doesn't get done. But the mayor and the Titans have both come to the initial agreement, no general fund dollars. So when you look at visitor tax on hotel, you look at what the state's willing to do if there's a roof, and Amy and the NFL, we're pretty close. And that sales tax redirect is the money that the Titans will generate, and the state's agreed to give a decent portion of that back to them. So I haven't seen the final numbers. I haven't looked at anything probably in a month or so, but there's enough revenue streams to pay for it. I feel like the Titans will say any cost overruns will be their responsibility. And, I'm very, very biased, but, we're crazy not to do this. The city is the big winner if we do it, because there's no real rent. If we host a Super Bowl, if we host a Final Four, if we host a college football playoff, they don't pay rent. So the Titans aren't going to gain anything from that, but the city will gain. So I like our chances.
Where are you, Butch, with the dome piece of this? To me, when you get into these kind of dollars, I don't know why we wouldn't go for it. Tell me why and maybe you are on the dome side, but that just brings so many more possibilities to Nashville to me. And if you're going to throw this kind of money around, why wouldn't you do that? And am I off my rocker here?
No, you're not off your rocker at all. If you're going to go 1.2, 1.5 billion to build the stadium, and the state's willing to say, put a roof on it, hell yeah. The revenue opportunities for this city are exponential if it's enclosed. And, the big expense part is the stadium itself. We seem to have the revenue for that. And if the state's willing to support Nashville, I like the idea of concerts in the winter, major events. I would hope at this point our track record would be good enough that when we say we're going to go chase something, that we can deliver. And they're teed up. I mean, even WrestleMania has said, put a roof on that thing and call us back. So it's those kind of events. It's not just football. It's not just NFL. And it becomes a ATM machine for the city and the state.
Oh, that's absolutely the way I see it. My gracious, I'm glad to hear you say that, because to me, it makes no sense if you're going to spend that kind of money. And my last thing, I'll go back to you, George. If you build a dome stadium, but that's not this stadium, correct? We would start all over again, or would
correct.
They? Yes. So
let me add that's kind of what Russ's team is doing to see if renovation's possible. So I guess we could look at putting a roof on a renovation. But when the Titans looked at that before, it was an extra $500 million. And that, without the state's help, that kind of put it out of reach.
Yeah, I can see that. What you got, George?
Butch, here's the part that a lot of people forget. And of course, you've got so many new people that have come to town. In the mid-90s, what is now Nissan Stadium was built for $292 million. That included land acquisition. $71 million of that $292 was PSL money. And Butch, this, you couldn't build the bathrooms anymore. It's a miracle what this city pulled off back then.
Last stadium in the country built on the cheap. We're seeing some of the, we're reaping the rewards now of crumbling concrete, bad infrastructure, not great bones. It was prefab to a large degree. Yeah, you can't touch that. And George, if my memory serves me right, that $300 million also included some money for the Oilers to move here. So it wasn't all construction in the 290.
I mean, when you think about, and again, I'm aiming this a little bit at some people that may be new to our city. Right at that point, the city gets hit with something that nobody sees coming, an NFL team willing to move here, and Mayor Bredesen trying to build an arena at the same time. That is a double miracle as I think about it back then. And Butch, you and I were there, kind of front and center stage. It's a miracle that we got to this point.
Without question. We defied the odds. We got the critics came out in mass and made it difficult. At the end of the day, it went to a public vote. 60% of Nashville said, hell yeah. And so we had our public referendum and overwhelming support. And I think any research, any surveying, the Titans are hugely popular in the city and the state. And if you can do it without putting it on the backs of the local taxpayer, crazy not to. I probably had this a couple times while we talk. The critics are being chirping already, and the people that kind of like the idea, support it, understand it, have been quiet. We've got to start making noise, from the pro side, because the anti, the I hate everything people are chirping.
Butch, let me ask this. As the busiest man in Nashville, and you are, I need to know, because you can really help me here. Do you have time for us to go to a commercial break, bring you back for about 6 to 10 minutes, or do you need me to just go straight through?
No, I can do that. If you get me out of here a little after 5:30, I have to head to an event. I have, 5,000 of my closest friends in town, and we're selling the city for a future convention. So I got to go greet them in a minute, but I can hang on.
You know what? I promised to do that, and if I don't, I'll get you some baklava.
Deal.
Okay, we will have more with the man who runs our Convention and Visitors Bureau and is front and center stage on the possibility of the Titans getting a dome stadium. More with Butch Spyridon on Main Street Media Television.
This is Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. One area I can help with is if you are newly or nearly retired, or maybe have changed jobs and have an old 401k account. You may need more information to help you clearly understand your options. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email eric@rockcastlewealth.com.
Do you love bacon? I mean, do you really love bacon? Who doesn't, right? The 3rd annual Murfreesboro Bacon Fest is coming up Saturday, September 10th. Admission and parking are free. The Bacon Festival will feature live music, food, and craft vendors. And did I say bacon? You can ride a mechanical hog ride. Visit the Kids Zone with free inflatables. There will also be hourly raffles with great prizes and an opportunity to purchase Bacon Festival merchandise. And did I say bacon? Yeah. There will even be a bacon eating contest. Visit the 3rd annual Murfreesboro Bacon Festival Facebook page for all the details.
Welcome to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Urban elegance with a vintage touch. Our 800-room hotel opened up in the fall of 2013 with 746 guest rooms and 54 suites.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
This is Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, and personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. If you've lost a spouse or a parent and want to make sure your inheritance is utilized and does not just disappear, I can help with that. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
We are back, and we are joined by Butch Spyridon, who runs our Convention and Visitors Bureau, has done an incredible job in this city for more than 30 years, was honored earlier, about a year ago, by the National Football Foundation for so many of the good works he has done in the sports world, not only the Convention and Visitors Bureau part. And so we're talking about the Titans and the possibility of a dome stadium in the future. Butch, Minneapolis went down this road a few years ago, and what I remember appeared to be a promise by Roger Goodell that if they would get that, if they would build that dome stadium, that he would give them a Super Bowl. Are you all asking him for the same thing?
Yeah, you can rest assured that we have made the outreach. Share a couple things I think are okay. One is, the NFL, they're very judicious in the words they choose. So initially, we will not promise you a Super Bowl tied to building a stadium, but we can promise you won't get one if you don't improve the facility, because it's just not up to their standards. Recently, they sent the NFL and us a submission of interest form. So Burke Nihill and I'm a Burke fan, the Titan president. He sits on our board. We've been working closely on this for quite some time. But we sent that expression of interest form for the Pro Bowl, the Combine, the Draft, and the Super Bowl, and said we are interested in any and all after 2026. We've also asked if we could come pay them a visit. So we're working on trying to go up in September and have a more in-depth conversation about that. So we're all in to make it happen. And your comment is spot on. The NFL's track record is to reward cities that improve their venues. And the other thing that we believe is a roof gives us a significant opportunity to be in a rotation. No roof, maybe we get one and a pat on the head that says y'all are cute and okay, thank you, and they move on. So I like the rotation conversation much better.
Butch, help me with this. The hotel room issue that I used to hear about, does the city have enough to host a Super Bowl? That's long since out of the way, correct?
Correct. I still hear it. I heard it on the RNC. I just hear it a lot. It hasn't been an issue for a number of years.
Yeah.
By the end of, so we're on a July 1 fiscal year, by the end of this year, there will be over 40,000 rooms in Davidson County and over 55,000 rooms in Middle Tennessee. So please help me put that question to rest. And the other question that would come up behind that was, well, then you don't have enough first-class, high-quality rooms. Well, there's a Conrad Hilton that just opened. There's a Four Seasons opening in a couple weeks. There's a Ritz-Carlton about to break ground. There's a One Hotel that just opened. There's a St. Regis on the drawing board. So even the high-end hotel, not a question at all. And I might like to add, if I can, George, I've been real vocal since we built the convention center that we really didn't feel like we could handle any more hotel tax levies, that we were at the high end and it was risky. And then this new stadium roof came up and met with the hotel community, and it was the easiest sell unanimous, yeah, if we can do this, let's tax ourselves. We want to help. And I think, if nothing else, we put our money where our mouth is. And as cautious as we've been about how it could negatively impact, how an increase could negatively impact, zero question, we have to go for it. It's too good. And the big events that'll come for this community should appeal. Something will appeal to everybody.
If this happens the way you and I think it's going to, does this eliminate Major League Baseball down the road?
No, I don't think so. We're still slim on the corporate sponsorship suite holder side, but we're growing as a business center. And I think Major League Baseball, I think they've said it, they like Nashville. But I think that's, it's 5 years or more down the road before anything serious happens, unless an existing team and owner decides they want to invest in Nashville. I don't see that right now, but nothing surprises me anymore when it comes to Nashville's good fortune. We have continued to fall up, and I don't see that waning anytime soon.
Butch, I've got a clock in front of me that says 5:26. I'm going to move quick because I don't know how to make baklava. Does this go to the city council for a vote eventually? Is that the way this whole thing works?
Yeah, without knowing, getting the plan or the report that Venue Solutions will do, bringing that back, letting it be evaluated. The city, I hope before that, the city makes the financing plan public. But in an ideal world, the council would have this in November after some public discussion, and we would get a vote before the end of the year. If we really want to leverage all of our opportunities, you're talking about fall of 26 if you start now. So it's a long time, and if we want to maximize the ROI, we need to move. But we need to be smart about it too. Nobody thinks you hurry up so that you bait and switch. Yep. But we can do the homework. We're smart people. The Titan deal worked the first time. The arena worked. The Preds have worked. Our MLS team is a home run. The Music City Center, the investments we've made in this city have all paid off and driven revenue for the city. And we got to remember that. You got to invest in yourself if you're going to get better.
Amen. Watson, give him one question, because not only can I not make baklava, I can't make tiropitas either.
Butch, to me, when we invested in the juggernaut of the NFL back before, we got to go. I mean, we've got to go. You're doing a great job to me of putting everything on the table and showing everything where it is. But you get what you pay for. And this city has a great opportunity to make a big move up the ladder in the NFL if we get this done. So, man, 100% think it's the right thing to do and got the right guy pushing it. So I don't know that that's a question for you, but that's dang sure the way I feel. You get what you pay. And all the time I've been in this business I've been in sports, you get what you pay for. It's a commitment that you have to make, Butch. And to me, what a perfect time to make it.
Well said. Couldn't agree more. We have created a city that is in high demand. And a couple more assets take this to the highest levels. And we don't have to continue to grow to some enormous city. We can still be Nashville and play with the big boys when we want.
Absolutely.
Butch, thank you for taking the time. I got you in under the wire. I think we got all the info out there. Know that in the future, when you need airtime, you just come to me. You remember what it was like 25 years ago. Our buddy Rick Region was right in the middle of it, America's Guest. He's not with us, but I know he's up there going, give him the airtime.
Hell yeah, let's do it. And George, I'm going to need you on the NHL draft and awards. So
Oh my God. Yes, I saw that.
hashtag there as well. But that's a great example. The NHL hasn't done the awards and the draft together in 17 years. What city did they pick? Music City. There's a reason.
We did an 8-hour show that day, and I didn't know the first damn thing about hockey.
Yep.
It's amazing. Butch, thank you for what you've done for our city. Thank you for taking the time to come on here. It's 5:30. You need to go.
I got to run. I appreciate it. Y'all take care.
Appreciate
Thank you very much.
Butch
Yeah.
Spyridon from the Convention and Visitors Bureau joining us on the show. So, Watson, let's go back if we can. Let's put that graphic up there about the funding. I don't pretend to know a ton of stuff, but what I do know is that the hotel community agreeing to the increase in the tax appears to be a huge piece of where they're going to get the money that's needed.
Oh, absolutely. And look at the numbers here. Everything's in place to me, George. We're lucky. We've got an owner that's willing to be a major part of this. A lot of these owners threaten and run and do whatever to get what they want. This lady is throwing her money in the middle of this along with the NFL with her. But to me, there it is. There's the plus. And when your state says, we'll give you $500 million if you dome it, duh. I mean, I don't think in my eyes, and I don't even know where you come from on this, but to me, this is a no-brainer. It's not just the NFL what this could create for this city.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously no one has benefited more from this kind of stuff than I have, because it allowed me to have a career here in sports where when I was in my 30s, I'm not sure I saw it that way. You know, I can remember Watson laughing with my mom when she was alive because she was dead set against this stuff. And I made the comment to her, I said, your son benefits dadgum near more than anybody. And from that point on, she did sort of say, ooh, you kind of got me on that.
Well, I do think, George, that this could set the baseball back a little bit, but how do you not go for this? I mean, we're well established in the NFL now. When we didn't even have a team back when we were building a stadium or just one coming to town. And now we're well established. We have one of the best cities in the NFL, and the NFL knows it. This is a no-brainer to me. And yes, I do think that it could slow the baseball down, but this is in our face. And it's get in or get out to me. This isn't one of those decisions, George. Get in or get out. Step up to the plate and do what we need to do, or just back off and let the Titans leave town sooner or later, because they will if we don't fix this stadium.
So, Watson, let me address a couple of the issues that you've put out there. Nobody would love to see Major League Baseball here more than me. I think, you know, that's for people who know me, that's like, duh, we get it. You know, you yap it all the time. But the fact of the matter is, right now, this is a ways away. Okay, this is the football. We know where we are here. We know we have a team. Baseball-wise, while this John Lore group has done a nice job of getting Nashville's name out there, the truth of it is they don't have an owner. They don't have anybody at this moment, unless they're keeping quiet about something that I don't think they're keeping quiet about. They don't have that person stepping up to say, I've got $1 billion, I'll be the owner. Now, here's where I'm going to go with that. The rumor that was out there for a good while was that former Tennessee Governor Haslam was really looking into baseball before this whole take over the Predator thing ended up happening. I don't have 100% proof of this, but I believe he looked around and said, it's going to be a while. So I'm going to go ahead and go with hockey even though baseball was what it was, he was sniffing around about the most. I think he realized, my entry into sports ownership is going to happen a lot quicker in hockey than it is in baseball. That's my opinion. I don't have proof, but I'm also not totally stupid, which some of you will go, oh, yeah, you are.
Well,
why is Billy laughing? Why?
Joe, I was going to say something, but I thought Watson would be.
You thought he would jump.
No.
We were waiting on each other. We held back, George.
I'm Billy. I'm kind of in a serious mode here, so I wasn't taking any shots at George.
George tees us up, kind of waiting and seeing what
he always lays it at really. Do you go or not times? He kind of sets us up. Says, well, do we do this or not? So
let's see if they're going to take the bait this time.
It's go time. Okay, so do you buy what I'm putting out there? Haslam was sniffing around on baseball. I believe he said, wow, it's not all that close, and it's no sure thing, and I've got this chance to be a hockey owner, and he just said, I'm going hockey because a bird in the hand is worth whatever.
Well, we've got the bird in the hand. It's a double bird. It's the NFL and our owner. We have got the bird in the hand. These people are willing to spend their money. And all the city has got to do now in the state is step up. And when you've got it sitting in front of you, George, you cannot turn it down. Ask the Baltimore Colts. Ask the Cleveland Browns. Ask the St. Louis Rams. Ask the Oakland A's or the Oakland Raiders. You can't sit. When it comes your time, you either step up to the plate and go, or you back away and look out and whatever might go down from there, because these people, the NFL is serious business. And when it's your time to step up to the plate and you got people stepping up with you, you got to step up to the plate.
Say the Titans do wait longer than people want. What could happen potentially?
What do you mean that they late? Because
say instead of the Titans, finalizing these plans in 2 years, it happens in 4 years.
No, I don't think there's any chance of that. I think, first of all, when you've got Butch Spyridon in the middle of it, there's nothing slow walking about Butch.
He makes
I don't think there's any scenario where that's going to happen.
You don't think so?
Nope. Absolutely.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Okay, after the break, we'll do a series of things. Number one, we will release our first college football playoff. 4.
Is that we or is that Watson?
Well, it's Watson, and he kind of wussed out at the end. I'm a little disappointed in the way I think he put it out there.
No, I'll explain why I put out there.
I know.
You don't need to be calling me a wuss. I'll explain what I put out there.
It was kind of wussy.
No, it wasn't.
Okay. Yeah, it was.
No, I'll explain it when we come back.
We'll let the viewers decide. This is Main Street Media Television.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Tell us about One Stop Realty.
So, as I've said before, George, One Stop Realty is the hometown brokerage for all your real estate needs. We've been around since 1974. I took ownership of the company in 2019. We've added agents. We have expanded into building up our property management. The growth with our agents is fantastic. We added 3 new agents in the past couple months. Angela Hyatt, Nathan Skelly, and Crystal Locke have all joined us, and they're going to be fantastic agents. They're ready to help you in all your residential, your commercial, property management, and auction needs. We are a family business, and we want to help your family find your next property in Middle Tennessee. Office number is 615-822-0750. My cell phone, 615-440-7011. Or the website, onestoprealtytn.com. And you can also find us on Facebook. I encourage everybody to go out and like and follow our page, just as the same we did with George Plaster.
This is Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. One area I can help with is if you are newly or nearly retired, or maybe have changed jobs and have an old 401k account. You may need more information to help you clearly understand your options. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email eric@rockcastlewealth.com.
When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links. Okay, as all of you know, the college football season begins this Saturday. Vandy, Hawaii is the late game at 9:30 on CBS Sports Network. One of the early game at 11:30 in the morning is, see if I've got this, Northwestern and Nebraska from Dublin. So anyway, each week on Monday, we're going to put out what Watson believes is the top 4. Drive to the title, if you will.
George, look at those helmets. I forgot to replace it with I meant to put the college football playoff. Oh, man.
Okay, so
let's just go to number 1.
Yeah, let's do. But let's bring Watson up here. Okay, so he's got Alabama. Gee, that was hard.
Well, it was hard.
Was it?
Yeah, I think Ohio State's right dead even with them. I just put Alabama 1 for the heck of it. But
okay,
I think Ohio State's right with them as number 1.
So you've got those two. Obviously, let's go to number 2 here and show Ohio State. There they are. You say that both Alabama and Ohio State today you believe are better than Georgia.
Yes, I think Georgia's 3 and a little distance between them. Today, end of the year, let's see. But today, both these two teams have a lot more players back than Georgia does.
Okay, so go
Speaking
ahead.
of,
yeah, go ahead for the record. There's nice. Now, how quick did you put that in there?
That was quick.
That was really quick. But then go to number 4. This is so
This
weak.
is where it gets messy.
Weak. What is that?
That is, I could list about 8 of them up there if you'd want me to. I don't think anybody's close to those 3.
Yeah.
I don't think they are. I think those 3
this.
are in a league of their own, and everybody else is fighting for the 4th spot. And I'll just bet all three of those are there, and we have no clue who the fourth one is, and probably won't be either one of those two.
Okay, let's try
That's what I
this.
meant by that.
You tell me what you think here. I can't pronounce the guy's name, the Clemson quarterback, so I'm going to use ukulele. What is his what?
Uiagalelei.
Okay, ukulele.
Ukulele.
Watson, unless he is a ton better, Clemson isn't anywhere close.
And I've yet to see that he is.
But George,
I'll be surprised if he's a ton better. I just thought he was a slow twitch kid. And I just didn't see it as the type of quarterback Clemson plays with, because their quarterback has to do a lot in their offenses and run the ball, quick decisions, a lot of RPOs, just got to have feet. I just didn't see it in this kid. And Oklahoma's got a new quarterback too. Now, he and the coordinator, Libby, were together at Central Florida, so there is a background there. I guess it's Gabriel, right? Isn't that his name?
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
And but so they've been together before, so it's a little bit misleading on that one, but I'm not sure it'll be either one of those. I think it'll be a surprise fourth team when we get to November.
Why is Clemson having trouble getting a quarterback?
Oh no.
Well, they thought Uiagalelei was the next Trevor Lawrence.
Well,
but turns out he faces that Georgia defense.
Yet.
He faces that Georgia defense week 1, and I think that just shocked him. I mean, I think that spooked him a lot. And that's historically good.
It's just overrated myself, guys.
You don't think he improves from last year?
I just don't see it.
He's
if
not
he
a
does. Clemson's got the easiest route to get there in the league. I don't think the ACC is very strong this year at all. When they pick Pittsburgh, who's got a lot of new faces coming as the winner on the other side away from Clemson, they've got the easiest route. But till they settle their quarterback problem, George, I can't put them up there.
He's not a guitar. He's a ukulele.
What's that supposed to mean?
Oh, well, we'll hold that one. He'll use that one again, believe me.
Oh, believe me.
He put that
one
one
will
in the
pop
memory
up
bank.
again.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Watson, last Friday, we took some text questions from some listeners.
Okay.
And we're going to do, I don't know, 2 or 3 more.
Yeah, we got a couple.
Here.
We got a couple left over from last week, George.
Okay.
We've got a good question from Bob in Old Hickory, carrying over the college football talk. He asks, is there a team in college football that is badly overrated this year?
I think we just mentioned it. I think it's Clemson, Watson.
Clemson, maybe Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame may win 9, somewhere in there. I don't see them up in the double digits. That would be the two right now that I have overrated, yes.
That's got Billy's family running for cover.
Oh man, the
I'm
Irish.
sorry, I just don't see it. Their schedule's pretty good, but still, I see 2 or 3 losses in there. So
they're going to have to go to confession for what they're thinking about Watson.
Well, I do think they're in good hands though with Coach Freeman. I think he brings the new style. Now it may take a year or two, but
I agree with you. His recruiting has drastically picked up over Coach Kelly's recruiting. There's no doubt about it, but it's too early to me, Billy.
Well, okay, hold on. Why is that? Why is his recruiting better?
I don't know. It just is.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a backlash of Kelly being a screamer and a yeller, or is that?
I have no clue. All I can tell you, proof's in the pudding. His rankings in the recruiting battles have gone way up in just his first year. So
and he's recruited differently than Kelly. He's recruited different guys that he's been able to bring in already. You know, they've had some losses, but he's brought in some players that I think will make a difference speed-wise that they haven't had in a while.
You're a big Notre Dame fan?
I mean, I've got a few family members that'll root on the Irish.
Okay.
But George, I've got a really good one right up Watson's wheelhouse. Does the OVC have a real future?
That is.
I just don't see it.
Who asked that?
Jane in Clarksville.
Jane.
Maybe an Austin P fan.
Could
Austin
be.
P is gone, so
Yeah.
they've moved on. Everybody's moved on. I think it's the 3 Tennessee schools. Tennessee Tech, I think, Billy George is the only original left. Murray
member.
plays in it this year, but they're gone. And I think Tennessee Tech is the only original left. TSU and Martin joined it later on, and they're still in. I just don't. I'm sorry. I was in it, and I grew up in the OVC watching it, and my best friend's dad was the head coach at Tech when I was a kid. It's just I don't see it, guys. They're adding people that don't up the image of the OVC already. Lindenwood and what's the other one? Southern Indiana. I think it's in trouble.
I think it's sad.
It's real sad because there's a major history to the OVC, George, back in the Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky. That league originally, back in the day, was a special league. And I know everything has its ways of moving on, but the OVC hadn't been able to put teams in when they've lost teams. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this. That's why I'm big on the Group of 5 right now, having their own league, or they're going to start – it's going to dwindle into nothing because they're going to keep taking the better teams. Then the next year, 2 more leave. Then the next year, 2 more leave. And when you can't replace it, George, it's tough. So I think the OVC is in trouble.
What do you got over there, Billy?
George, we got one more. Going to the Titans. This is from Tighten Up in Carthage. What is your biggest concern about?
Did he say tighten up?
He said tighten up. Tighten up. What's your biggest concern about the Titans?
Watson, I worry about this wide receiver thing. I mean,
I put the offensive line 1. That's still my biggest.
That's fair
worry.
enough. And you know better than I do. That's
still my biggie that I just haven't seen in these 3 weeks of practice where I'm seeing what we need to see. I don't see any signs of the old line. Then was it 21 when we went deep in the playoffs? I don't see it, George. And
the report
that
card
is by
will be
far my biggest concern.
The report card will be when Derrick Henry hits the field.
Yeah,
because
that line was good too.
Looked better.
That offensive line was good that year. Now we knocked people around. You remember when the playoff game? Where did we go? Was it the Patriots when we threw like 15 passes in the whole game? I mean, we just knocked
them. Same thing in Baltimore.
Yeah,
knocked them all over the field, and we haven't done that since that day.
Yeah. Okay, good stuff. Watson, you think that's good stuff? Even better stuff when we come back. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, buddy, let's go.
We'll call this segment How Great Thou Art.
Pat that chest, buddy.
Plaster bet of the day is coming up. Your daddy is hot. Get ready.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties. Since 1865, the First Baptist Church of Gallatin on Winchester Street has served its community by catering to the least, the last, and the lost, providing a church of welcome used by God to save the lost, transform the saved, and impact its community. As a proud multi-ethnic congregation, Pastor Derek Jackson personally welcomes you to join them in fellowship Sunday mornings at 8 in person or at 10:45 in person or online at firstbaptistgallatin.org. First Baptist Gallatin on Winchester Street, serving with open arms as a true church of welcome.
This is Eric Berner with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. People hire me because I use a customized, individualized, personal approach for the person I'm working with. Everyone's situation is different. One area I can help with is if you are newly or nearly retired, or maybe have changed jobs and have an old 401k account. You may need more information to help you clearly understand your options. Call me at 615-235-1058 or email eric@rockcastlewealth.com.
High school football season is here, and nobody handles Friday nights better than Main Street Media. Here's Zach Womble with details.
That's the name of the game here at Main Street Media and Main Street Preps. Is, we've been doing this for a long time now, and I think you hit on it. We've got an army of reporters across all of Middle Tennessee. I think there's about 130 schools in the Middle Tennessee area, and we try to cover all of them. We cover about 11, 12 counties at this point. And those Friday night shows, it's we're gonna show that off. We're gonna showcase the talent that we have on the field with reporters across several mid-state games on the weekly basis. So whether you're in Williamson County, whether you're in Giles County or Murray County or Montgomery or Robertson or anywhere in between, we're gonna have you covered from 6 to 11.
Friday Night Live is presented by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee.
We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports card, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards.
We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
Get rid of that stupid music. I'm on fire. Watson, I've won 5 in a row, and I think 6 of the last 7.
Good for you.
Wow.
That's very good, George. I'm proud of you, man. Of course, blind hog will find an acorn sooner or later.
That's real nice. Do you have something you need to read over there?
I do, George. It's time for Bet of the Day, sponsored by Varder Injury Law. They've aggressively protected the rights of a broad range of victims of car accidents and personal injury in both Tennessee and Kentucky. If you too have seen your life interrupted by an injury on a highway, in a hospital, or at your workplace, you should let their attorneys do the work fighting for the full compensation that you need. Learn more about Bart Durham Injury Law by logging on to bartdurham.com. And George, we go through some of your numbers here, 17 and 13.
Oh, yeah.
Hotter than a firecracker.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe it.
I'm a little surprised as well.
Does it feel real?
Oh yeah. I mean, look, am I capable of this? Of course I am. Hey, Watson.
This was always in you.
Hey, Wood.
I went against Jacob deGrom last Thursday. I'm sure you remember that.
Yes, I do.
Well, guess what?
You going against him again? And he don't pitch tonight, does he?
No, I'm going against Max Scherzer.
Wow.
This may be the only time. Get that logo out of here, that nasty thing. The Yankees, we're taking them at home. They're frustrated. They're hacked off. Their managers throwing microphones during the press conference. This is a series they're going to play like a Super Bowl. And although they don't have the better pitcher, they are going to manufacture just enough to win this game tonight. Remember that, Watson.
Hard for me to bet against Buck Showalter. I tell you, this stretch has really been hard for the Mets. I mean, they got to go to Atlanta, go to the Phillies, and then go to the Yankees. That's three of their biggest rivals all back to back. So they may run out of gas, would be the only thing that I might say. But Buck going into the Phillies and pulling what he did in that and gaining ground on the Braves, I'm telling you now, my hat's off to him.
Yes, they're
beat up. They're beat up pretty good right now. Their pitching is not good. And so it's hard for me to bet against Buck right now. But if there's a time to do it, I think you picked the right one because I think they have thrown a lot into these last two series with the Braves and the Phillies.
George, there's only one thing left to say. Go
Yankees.
Come on.
No.
Yep. Let's hear
I'll
it,
say
George.
it for you, George.
You're-
Go
you're
Yankees.
You're betting on them.
Yeah, whatever. Great. Look, I'm betting with my head. Well, maybe I'm not. I may be betting with my heart, but let's not act like I'm going to be at home. Let's go Yankees. Not a chance.
Oh,
hey,
they're
Watson,
unbelievable.
tomorrow,
What?
you and Tony Basilio, great stuff.
Good.
Looking forward to
I
it.
look forward to talking to Tony. I haven't seen anything. Did they scrimmage again this weekend?
I think they did, but it's been
I'll
quiet.
have to look it up. I haven't seen anything on the Vol scrimmage.
Well, we'll get into it tomorrow. Until then, you try to behave.
I'm going to try real hard. You know it's hard right now.
Billy?
I'll start behaving if you'll quit singing. Is that a fair?
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, look, I didn't know you were hearing it because
Well,
I
I
was
did.
belting it out pretty good.
I did. You were belting it, believe me.
Billy, shame on
George,
you.
I'll take the blame.
This is Main Street Media Television.